Everyone, and welcome to the Monday night national webinar. My name is Gabe Pearson. Wow, what a thrill, what an honor, what a privilege it is to share with all of you just an incredible new paradigm in health called nutrigenomics. I was lucky enough to find out about this company back in 2009. Actually, I was right in the middle of the economic debacle. We lost 3 six-figure contracts when I owned a wellness company back in 2009. In hindsight, I'm thankful, for that 2009 debacle, because it led me to something that has literally freed me. And you're going to be hearing about all that tonight. So a little bit of background on myself. I've been in the fitness industry over 30 years. Started out as a health club instructor, making $2.13 an hour plus commissions, to owning 3 large health clubs for over 20 years. And I always tell everyone this: even though I own those gyms, I was still building somebody else's dream. I didn't own the property that the gyms were on. Made those guys the millions of dollars. I didn't own the finance company. Didn't own the leasing company. Made those guys tens of millions of dollars. So I finally wised up, got out of the health club industry, started my own personal training company, which, by the way, quickly morphed into a wellness company. Everything was moving in the right direction. It was the American dream. And then what happened in 2009? I mean, everything just comes crashing down, and my small little company loses 3 six-figure contracts in 30 days and literally brought us to our knees. Timing's everything in life, and I'm hoping some of you that are on this webinar tonight that are hearing this for the first time, maybe your universe might open a little bit after hearing what we have to share with you tonight. I know it did for me. I went up to Atlanta to try to retool my business. A complete stranger walked up to me after my keynote and asked me if I've ever heard of a product called Protandim. And folks, let me tell you this. If there wasn't for 8 to 10 people waiting in line to speak to me behind her, I most likely would have turned around and walked away from her. The next thing came out of that woman's mouth literally retired me from the fitness business 22 months later. And that was 7.5 years ago. And what came out of her mouth was, would I be willing to watch a 9-minute video on an ABC primetime investigative report? That was the hook. I get back home to Jacksonville, I watch this video, and I remember telling my wife, we're witnessing history in the making, and if we can validate this, I found a solution for our economic woes. Well, what I did is I went to the Mayo Clinic. I had a relationship with those doctors out there, and I asked them one question. If you were going to put your name on something, where would you go to validate it? And they sent me to the National Institutes of Health. Once they, validated this incredible product for me, I wanted to learn how to become a professional in this industry. And 22 months later, we're writing our last payroll check. So we're going to share all of that with you. But tonight, I'm really excited. I'm honored and privileged to have an incredible guest. I have his bio right here in front of me. He is a board certified for 33 years, guys, of pediatrics in adolescent medicine. We're going to find out what that is a little bit later. Most importantly, in my mind, he's a 14-year veteran. He was a major in the U.S. Army, so he's with the U.S. Army Medical Corps. His fellowship, he was trained at Fitzsimmons Army Medical Center in Aurora, Colorado. Went to the medical college at the University of Toledo and got his medical degree. Also went to Ohio State University, majoring in microbiology and immunology. And by the way, he's been teaching that as a professor for 10 years. In addition, he teaches PAs and nursing students. He comes from an incredible family. His wife, Margaret, is also a surgeon. He has a daughter. Her name is Erin, and she is a fashion designer. She's 28 years old, and they are just one heck of a family from, I know she lives in Savannah, Georgia, and I want to welcome everyone that's on this webinar tonight. We have an incredible guest, Dr. Neil Goodman. Dr. Goodman, how are you tonight?
Hi, Gabe. Thank you. I'm doing great. Great to be with you tonight.
Oh, thank you so much for your time. I know you had a busy day today. I'm excited to have you on. on the webinar. And you know, I just can't wait for you to share with everyone, you know, this incredible new paradigm in health. Now, I told the listening audience your specialty is pediatrics and adolescent medicine. You know, can you, in a minute or so, explain to the audience exactly what you do?
Of course, Gabe. In my day-to-day care of children, I actually see patients age from 0 to 18. And I also have an opportunity to visit with their parents to discuss health, nutrition, and wellness. I got involved in pediatrics because I realized that children are our future and that I had a unique opportunity to intervene in their lives and to perhaps set the stage for future growth and development, as well as treatment of illness and injury that would be based on good science, current education, and medical teaching.
Wow, that's incredible. I know you and I had a short conversation before we got on tonight, and I made the comment, you know, not only do you protect, or you have protected, you know, our country for 14 years, but now you're protecting probably our most important asset, and that's our children. So, you know, major kudos to you. I just want to let everyone know, first and foremost, congratulations on your business. I mean, you just achieved the Premier Pro 4 rank, and I'll explain to the listening audience a little bit later what that is, last month. So let me ask you this. Just let everyone know that's on this webinar, how long you've been with LifeVantage, and why did you choose this company?
Well, Gabe, I've been with LifeVantage now for actually just a year, but most of that time was actually spent as a preferred customer. I had a subscription of Protandem and Protandem NRF Dual Synergizer, and then I progressed to become a distributor in September of 2017, so just really recently, when my very forward-thinking physician assistant, Debbie Zito, hats off to her, Debbie, who had been with me for over 17 years, she encouraged me to join the LifeVantage team and be a distributor under her. She had been a distributor for about 2 years, and she's currently a Pro 5. And we were jointly using our LifeVantage products to help our patients and their parents.
I tell you what, you have an incredible practice, and I know who Debbie is, and I tell you what, she is one heck of a business builder. I can imagine, you know, what she does to help you build your practice. Now, LifeVantage, you know, from my experience, you know, there are very few companies out there that actually have real science, you know, behind their products. You know, can you take a moment and educate the listening and viewing audience on what is it meant when we talk about peer-reviewed science? Help the listening audience understand the enormity of what that is.
Gabe, peer-reviewed science means that the research that's conducted is reviewed and challenged by a group of scientists that are those scientists' peers, not necessarily from the same camp, in order to validate the outcomes. This is done before a report is published in the professional and trade journals of medicine. Adding to this validation is the fact that Protandem research was also independently funded by major universities and educators who were seeking to see if they could achieve results based on what was reported by the clinical team that created Protandem. Those studies can be found at the NIH literature at pubmed.gov.
That's incredible. And folks, what I want all of you to understand, the science is done on the product, not ingredients that's in our product. And that's what just, you know, makes this science so real. Now, Dr. Goodman, let's talk about what I call the core 4, our Vitality Stack. First is our flagship product, what really got this, you know, company off the ground. It's our NRF2 activator called Protandem. Can you help the viewing audience, you know, understand what separates this product from all the other products that are on the market, and help everyone understand what is Protandem?
Thank you, Gabe. I love teaching about Vitality Stack science. As a clinical professor of pediatrics, I teach students, parents, and colleagues, and the lay public about the science behind these products. Before someone can understand protandem NRF2, they need to understand what the problem is that they're trying to solve. First, let's talk about oxidative stress. What is this? From the moment you were born, you were under attack from oxidative stress. It's simply the inability to adequately deal with the waste that we produce from our cells' use of oxygen. Our 37 trillion cells produce energy from their use of oxygen, water, and fuel from food, and they make ATP, which is the power molecule that drives every single energy-using step in your body, from cellular growth and replication to reproduction, muscle use, and our brain and nervous system's ability to communicate with our bodies. Without energy or ATP, we cease to exist. The rub is that while we need oxygen to live, it's also the chemical element that's killing us. Gabe, let me say that again for the audience. The oxygen that we need to live is also slowly killing us.
It's like an oxymoron, isn't it?
Yeah, a waste byproduct of burning oxygen is what we call free radical. Imagine, if you will, that all 37 trillion of our cells were like small, juicy grapes, filled with fluid and nutrients and genetic material in the form of chromosomes and genes, and also equipped with really small factories called mitochondria. Those mitochondria are where every chemical reaction in your body takes place and where energy is made. Now, suppose for a minute that those factories were producing small microscopic shrapnel. Me being an ex-Army guy, I think of bombs and munitions and things. So shrapnel that travels at very high speeds and bounces around inside that cell, well, eventually it's going to hit things. And it would punch holes in those very fragile grapes until the cells had enough holes in them that they couldn't function. Those cells would stop making energy and do whatever function that they were designed to do, and they would collapse and they would die from the inside. And that is what oxidative stress is. It's at the root cause of arthritis, pain, inflammation, skin diseases, cancer, heart disease, brain disease, autoimmune disease, and over 500 different conditions. The toll that it takes in general is referred to as aging. When we were born, we were given some tools to deal with keeping up with this cumulative damage. We were given natural antioxidants, and those antioxidants have names. They're called glutathione. Some of you may have already heard about these before. Catalase, and the top dog in the game is superoxide dismutase. That's a long word, I know, so we just say SOD. But up until we reach the age of about 20, our bodies are successfully trying to neutralize and destroy those damaging free radicals. But those natural antioxidants become depleted over time and eventually can't keep up with the constant assault. And so in the most recent years, our response is to take an additional antioxidant in our diet, maybe in the form of healthy foods. You know, we all do this. Asparagus and garlic, onions, kale. Kale's particularly good. Wine, vitamins. Those work at a ratio of 1 antioxidant molecule to 1 free radical. That sounds pretty good, right? But really, there's millions of free radicals made. You couldn't possibly eat enough fruit and vegetables to make a significant difference. But we try. Some folks with enough economic means have gone to the extent to ingest or even get direct infusions of the antioxidant glutathione. But the benefits are usually short-lived, they're expensive, and it's inconvenient. So how is it that our own cells know when to make more of these inborn antioxidants to protect themselves? The answer is the NRF2 protein. NRF2 protein, when stimulated, sends a signal that tells the DNA in your cells to make more natural antioxidants. And because of the work that Joe McCord, an international cellular biologist and the discoverer of SOD, that superoxide dismutase molecule, he did this in the 1990s. A synergistic mix of 5 plant-based substances, which we call protandem NRF2, was created. And it was found to actually turn on the NRF2 pathway 18-fold, or 1,800%. More effective than any one of the separate ingredients alone, and more in any other food or drug that has ever been created. And I'll tell you, Gabe, protandem NRF2 is up to the job. It can tell each and every one of your 37 trillion cells to simultaneously make those antioxidants, those natural ones, at a ratio of 1 million per second per cell, every second of every hour of every day, as long as you take it. However, it all reverts back to pre-Protandim values within 2 weeks of stopping it. So you really do need to continue to use it. So Protandim NRF2 is able to reduce then your oxidative stress in your body by an average of 40% in just 30 days of taking it. That's everybody. Even more with more time, with maximal benefits being seen with approximately 1 month for every decade of life that you've lived. An example of the improvement that one sees is glutathione is increased by 300% in 120 days. Catalase, the second enzyme that I had talked about earlier, is increased by 54%, and SOD is increased by 30%. If you could measure your T-bar, which is a blood test done in research labs, it would show your cellular aging returning to that of a 20-year-old. Your CRP and other markers of inflammation that doctors will record will be reduced. And while we can't say that Protandim or any of the other LifeVantage products can cure, treat, or mitigate disease, we can say that it does what it's supposed to do, which is it reduces free radical damage and oxidative stress.
Wow. So let me see if I got this right. And I'm going to try to dummy it down so everyone can understand this. So basically what you're saying, or what you said, is what sustains us in life, like breathing, right, and eating, is how and why we age and how and why we get diseases. And what this product does is reduce that process by 40% in 30 days. Is that correct?
Yes, Gabe, that's absolutely correct. Oxygen is we need it to live, but it's also killing us because of the effect that oxygen has on our cells. We're literally rusting inside. You know, you look at metal, and when it's exposed to oxygen, it rusts. That's what it does. Well, we're rusting too, but what we see is a different effect. We see instead wrinkles in our skin, or maybe our joints become inflamed and it causes more friction. This is how rust presents itself in humans.
So those are those little pings. You use the word ammunition, right?
Shrapnel.
Yeah, sharpener, that relentless progression of those pings inside the cell causes the malfunction. So guys and gals, what he's saying is the first 20 years of life, right? The good guys are winning the war. But as Dr. Goodman said, soon we turn 20, that's when those good guys start to malfunction. They start to misfire. Then every decade that we age, unfortunately, the good guys are heading south and the bad guys are heading north. And by taking this all-natural product that are comprised of 5 natural ingredients with no drug-on-drug interactions, it brings us back to that of a 20-year-old. Is that correct, Dr. Goodman?
I couldn't say it better myself. I'm sorry it sounded so complicated when I presented it, Gabe, but that was a very nice summation.
Well, no, I mean, I love this stuff now because I've been around it 8.5 years. Now I totally understand it. But we have some listening and viewing audience on here that's hearing this for the first time. Guys and gals, it's like this. Who has the most good guys in the end wins. And what this product does is take the reins and pulls back the aging and diseasing process by 40%. So how in the world, I mean, why would you want to get on this product? So there's so much more to cover, but I want to continue to move on because we're going to be talking about the core 4. So NRF2, as Dr. Goodman says, activates a pathway that turns on your body's ability to make more good guys. And that's what that product does. Now, we have another activator, Dr. Goodman. It's NRF1. Can you help the listening audience understand the difference between NRF2 and NRF1?
Absolutely. You know, this is a point of confusion for a lot of people. Just know that NRF2 is responsible for reversing your cellular aging. It's as simple as that. Repair and healing. NRF1, really what we're talking about is mitochondrial dysfunction. You remember those mitochondria that I talked about? Those are those little powerhouses that provide all the energy for your cells. Well, when LifeVantage Company developed a sister product, Protandim NRF1, those free radicals were destroying those little factories inside our cells. And when the factories are destroyed, they can't make as much energy. And then what happens is they're damaged in number and they're reduced. And so as a result, then we have low energy state. The cells cannot do their function at a proper rate. We slow down. We become sluggish. We gain weight as a result. Our metabolism slows. And then we also think more slowly and we heal more slowly. So NRF1 is simply the genetic pathway in protein which, when stimulated, increases the number of mitochondria. So the cells that were hurt at the level of the free radicals that I described before were damaged in two ways. The DNA was damaged and caused the cells to fail completely, but the mitochondria that live within them, that's really responsible for all the energy that we live and breathe and use, those are once again able to produce more energy and more ATP, which then improves our cell repair, improves our blood production. It leads to improved brain function, and our heart is healthier too, because we can function much, much more efficiently when we replace and repair those damaged mitochondria.
Well, that's incredible. And folks, what I want you to start to, especially for those of you that are watching this webinar tonight, that are entrepreneurs, that are looking for something. This is a new paradigm in health. And what I want all of you to understand, taking supplements are going to be a thing of the past, right? Activating supplements are going to be the future. And that's exactly what these first two products do. You know, so think like this, taking antioxidants, bye-bye, right? Making them is the future. And that's what Nerf 2 does. It's like Dr. Goodman said, it's a better tool. It kills 1 million bad guys per second instead of 1. It's more efficient, and more importantly, it's safer. And then NRF1, making more ATP to create more mitochondria. Boy, you sleep better, you have better heart function, you have more energy. Who wants more energy? Who wants to be able to sleep better? So that is what we call a dual. That's what Dr. Goodman was on for the first 8 months before he decided to jump into business. He mentioned the word dual synergizer. He was on the 1-2 punch is what we call those two products. Now, Dr. Goodman, my favorite product is the probiotic. Can you just maybe, I know there's a ton of probiotics out there. What separates our probiotic from everything else that's out there?
Well, Gabe, we need good, healthy gut bacteria in our gut to live. We have different kinds of gut bacteria. We have bad bacteria. We have good bacteria. They're in the fight for their life because you're constantly putting food in your system that harms those bacteria, and they have to constantly be replaced. And do remember that 70% of our immune function is found in our intestine. That's the source of a lot of our immunity. So every day we need to restore the balance in the numbers of good bacteria, and that's where Physique Probio comes in. The word probiotic, of course, means for life, and the LifeVantage product is the only probiotic formulation that can actually successfully get 6 of the helpful strains of bacteria into your gut to repair and replace our injured flora, or the groups of bacteria that live there. There are 6 billion particles in 3 little pellets of probio that are protected with BioTract, and that allows a 60% of the payload to arrive in your intestine. I mean, after all, that's where you want the probiotics to be. You don't want them in your stomach. You want them in your gut. That's where they function. So usually if you take a probiotic that's like a gel cap, or say a yogurt or cheese or something that has active cultures, you're really only getting about 4 or 5% into your gut, because as soon as they hit the stomach acid, they're destroyed by the stomach acid. So it's not the number when it says 6 billion colony forming units on the bottle. That's not the important thing. It's how did it get to your intestine? Did it actually survive the trip? That BioTract coating that the ProBio has dissolves after it passes through the stomach. So it avoids the destruction by stomach acid that would immediately affect other preparations. And so Physique ProBio specifically is able to deliver a steady stream of helpful bacteria over a 10 to 12 hour period of time. And it also includes Wellmune, which was proven in FDA trials to enhance your gut immunity by telling your immune cells that live there to activate quickly with any threat of disease. And so as a result, people who use ProBio, they feel better, they have more energy, and they can have less respiratory and other illnesses. They might experience improved mood and alertness, improved digestion, and decreased inflammation. So in essence, Gabe, ProBio restores the gut environment to what it was supposed to be in order to have good health.
Well, I've heard now that, they're actually saying that, our gut is our second brain. That's how important it is. And what you just told the viewing and listening audience is because of this, timed release, technology that we have, that 60% gets to where it needs to be instead of 4 or 5%. So folks, it's real simple math right there. You want to be able to make sure you're not putting a Band-Aid over something. You want to make sure you get to the root of the problem. And that's why I'm so fascinated with the science behind, all of our products. They're patented, they're peer reviewed, it's real science. And then our last...
That 60% is absolutely unheard of in the industry. The other products are getting, less than 5%, if you think about it, of whatever is on the label into the gut. And here you have 60%. It's just absolutely unheard of. So people who are taking other probiotics and think they're accomplishing something are not.
And what's fascinating to me, Dr. Goodman, I've been in the nutraceutical world, for over 30 years. And, these, products are priced for profit. Those 4 products, you can actually, if you purchase them all together, folks, there is no shipping and you can get it for $150. So divide that by 4 and then go to the stores that you buy your products at and find out what you've been spending on those products. And I can certainly tell you one thing, they don't have the patents to back what they're telling you, and they don't have peer-reviewed science behind them. So it's a no-brainer. And the reason why that Dr. Goodman and his peers and his team jumped on board, it's to educate. We were standing on the mountaintop screaming, educating people, that there's actually something out there that's worth putting into your body. And then lastly, Dr. Goodman, we have, that completes our core 4 is our Omega Plus. Can you kind of walk everyone through the significance of our Omega product?
Absolutely. This is a really cool addition. This only came out in the last, I'm thinking, what was it, about 6 months, Gabe?
Yes.
Before it was added to the Vitality Stack. It used to be a separate item, and now it's part of the packet. So let me just say that the significance of the Omega Plus is that this is a really smart combination of fatty acids as well as vitamin D. Omega-3s are needed to maintain an intact blood cellular membrane barrier. Our brains are mostly fat, and omega-3s are a large part of it. And they form the barrier between our blood and brain cells. If this is disrupted through inflammation, then disease sets in and things reach the brain that aren't supposed to get there. So it's the intake of omega-3 that keeps the ratio of omega-3s to omega-6s, which, by the way, is way in overabundance in our diet. That's found in cooking oils and things. It's the balance of those 2 omegas that sort of sets us up for inflammation. So if you can keep that in check, then you can reduce your inflammation as it pertains to the brain. Now, usually omega-3 is only found in seeds, nuts, fish, and some vegetables like kale and avocado, but it's also in mother's breast milk. And Gabe, this was part of the grand design to develop healthy brains in our infancy. Omega-3 also helps with proper blood thinning. It lowers cholesterol, it reduces our risk of cancer, heart disease, and diabetes, and it also improves our brain and joint function and builds muscle in athletes. This is why a lot of our triathletes, Olympian athletes, by the way, all these products are certified by the anti-doping agency to be safe and to meet the standards of not doping, because they're all safe and rated as such. So we have a lot of elite athletes who are Olympians who are using these products. The omega-7 part of this omega plus is also used to reduce inflammation, and it helps to reduce insulin resistance that's seen in diabetes and prediabetes. And lastly, what really makes omega plus different is that it isn't spoiled. If you've ever smelled a fish oil pill, it smells like fish. It gives you belches that smell like fish. It causes indigestion. And your breath and your skin begin to smell like fish. I did this, and I know it smelled bad, and I didn't want to take it. But living in the South, I really like fish. But fish shouldn't smell, and neither should I. So if a fish oil pill smells, then it's rancid. Oftentimes, ordinary fish oil is polluted with mercury or arsenic. So the fish are maybe mishandled and allowed to spoil on the dock while they're waiting to be processed. Omega-3 plus fish oils, DHA and EPA, the same ones that are found in breast milk and baby formula, are ultra purified and traceable even down to the very boat that the fish were obtained from. They have absolutely no smell. And I want to just speak about the last ingredient that's in this Omega Plus. It's vitamin D. You know, this is the king of all vitamins. It's absolutely essential to human life. It not only builds strong bones and muscles, but it's involved in maintaining a proper immune system. And it supports healthy cell division and growth, protects against breast and prostate disease, and it's also an antioxidant in its own right. Gabe, when you look at this Vitality Stack product and realize that it encompasses all 4 pillars of human wellness in a convenient packet that allows people to biohack their wellness, well, I'm very, very proud to be associated with it. This is simply a great way for people to start their biohacking journey.
That's fantastic. I love what you said about boat to bottle. You can track it. That is so cool. And I love the fact that I can take one of those Omega Pluses and put it in my mouth and just chew it up and swallow it. And there's no fish breath for the rest of the day. So folks, there it is. That's why we call it the Core 4. I love what Dr. Goodman just said, the 4 pillars of health. Very, very important. I call those, those first 2 products, the activators, 22nd century products that were discovered in the 21st century. I mean, getting your own body to do its own work, what your body was meant to do for the first 20 years of life. I mean, to me, that's just fascinating science. And if you really, really take the time to understand the significance of these 5 natural ingredients, how they work synergistically together, and Dr. Goodman said they increase what's known as gene expression 18-fold. So what that means is it's 1,800% more powerful than taking one of those ingredients at a time. So fascinating stuff, Dr. Goodman. Thank you so much. For the rest of this webinar, about another 10 minutes, I'd just like to talk a little bit about the business side, because there are a lot of you that are on this webinar that's been watching these webinars, educating yourself by listening to these fascinating guests that I have that are incredibly smart on the science end and really understanding why you're taking those products. And now, like Dr. Goodman, after taking those products, there is opportunity out there. So I'd like to share a little bit with you about the company. There's a picture of LifeVantage. By the way, it's a publicly traded company. The stock symbol is LFVN, Larry, Frank, Vicky, Nancy. It's traded on the NASDAQ. I love the fact that this company is publicly traded. Everything that came out of Dr. Goodman's mouth, everything that's coming out of my mouth, we can't embellish because everything is transparent. I love the fact that the science is real. It's peer reviewed. So Dr. Goodman suggested go to the NIH website, that's pubmed.gov, and read the studies on these products. I love the fact that the company is a strong financial foundation. In other words, the company did a little over $200 million last year, and 70% of that $200 million are what Dr. Goodman did for 8 months, are just consumers because of the validity behind the products. folks, that's your fortune. That's the way I look at it. That's the bedrock, right? That's the foundation of the company. I love the fact that we have strong leadership. If you look at the gentleman who's behind the helm, Darren Jensen, our CEO, he has 27 years experience in this industry. And there's only been 13 companies in the network marketing space ever reached that pinnacle of $1 billion a year in sales. And he's helped 2 of those 13 companies achieve that incredible, feat. And now he's, behind the helm. And basically what he has done for the last 2.5 years is put together his executive team, and now he's building his international team. I'd like to welcome everyone from New Zealand and the Dominican Republic. We just brought those 2 countries on today from a consumer standpoint. So he is building this. If you go to Yahoo Finance and type in our stock symbol and read our pro forma, you're going to see that the company's in 10 markets right now. Well, actually, I'm sorry, it's in 17 markets right now. 7 of those are from a consumer standpoint, and we plan on being in over 100 markets. So for those of you that are looking at this from an opportunity standpoint, our largest income earners are not even enrolled yet. There's nowhere to go but grow. When you only have 10 companies that we're actually doing business in from a distributor standpoint, and 17 companies from a consumer standpoint. Huge opportunity for you and your family. I also love the fact that we're international. In the Southeast Asian markets, we're in Thailand, we're in Australia, we're in Hong Kong, we're in Japan. This hemisphere, we're in Mexico, Canada, United States, the Netherlands, and Germany. From a retail standpoint, we just opened up the entire China market. So things are moving with this company right now. I love the fact that we are now the title sponsor of a Major League Soccer franchise. If you look at Real Salt Lake, on their jerseys, it says Life Vantage. So we're working on branding the company now and moving that company in the direction of growth. So those are some of the things that I love. I love the fact that, with that huge growth potential, folks, I tell you what, there's the writing's on the wall right there. Also, I always like to talk about timing, because timing is very important in this industry. And if you look at this S curve down there, that's on that slide, every company in the world goes through the S curve. You start, at the infancy stage of your business, and you go what's called through critical mass or branding, and then you hit momentum, and then it stabilizes. Well, if you look at this industry, the statistics to hit critical mass, you're looking about 600 million in revenues. So this company just did 200 million in revenues last year. So we're not even there yet. So timing is everything. It's like this. It's not too exciting to go buy, $1,000 worth of Microsoft stock today, right? You missed the boat. They've already gone through critical mass or branding. They've already gone through momentum, and they're in the stabilization. They're growing 2 to 4% a year. What if you took that $1,000 and you bought Microsoft stock back in the 70s? Big difference. That $1,000 is worth millions today. So timing is everything. So right now, this company hasn't hit critical mass yet. 80% of growth, all right, 80% of market share, 80% of the money is made in the momentum phase. And you're there before critical mass and momentum. So hopefully that will wake a few of you up right now, because it's a huge, huge opportunity. From this day forward, you can never say that you were, involved with a company or had the opportunity to be involved with a company before the wave. You can't say that no more if you're on this webinar. So that's how big this opportunity is for you and the family. So timing is everything. And what's really fascinating in this business, and I'll let the person who invited you on this webinar tonight to really answer a lot of your questions tonight. The business model is absolutely, incredible. Most people today, actually I know the number, 93% of people in this country are building somebody else's dream. And the reason for that is they don't have the tens of thousands, the hundreds of thousands, the millions of dollars, to open up their own business. So they're stuck, right? Well, this industry gives you the ability to open your own business. I remember my mentor telling me 8.5 years ago that, I'm now opened my own distribution company, right? He goes, Gabe, you're Mr. Starbucks. You're not a franchisee. And 8.5 years ago, I really didn't fully understand the enormity of what he was talking about. Today, I do. I spent 34 years in the fitness business, and the word retirement was nowhere on the horizon. And because this business, I can tell you one thing, Dr. Goodman is not in this business to sell pills. He's in this business to educate people, to connect with people, to build a network. Can you imagine him having 10 doctors educating their patients on NRF2 activation, NRF1 activation? How much bigger it grows. So understand this, all of us are in the business of connecting people. We're building a network right now. And to get started with this business, it's really insane. You can get in 3 different ways. You can get in for $350, you can get in for $650, or you can get in for $1,250. And you're just buying product up front is what you're doing. So if you get the $350 pack, you're buying $300 worth of product. $50 is what's called a starter kit. That's your business in the box that really kind of gives you the blueprint of what to do next, right? And you're buying that $300 in product at 20% below wholesale. So you're actually getting it a lot cheaper than being a customer. And really, you can buy each pack based on what makes the most sense for you. What we call the gold pack, you're buying $600 in product. You're buying that product at 25% below wholesale. So you get a little bit better deal. Look at the value. The value is a little bit more than $1 for $1 like it is on the silver pack. And there's volume that's associated with each of these packs, and that's what we're doing. Dr. Goodman, his business is doing, a little over $120,000 a year now. He just hit what's called the Premier Pro 4 rank, which is doing $10,000 a month in revenue. Well, those packs help that revenue move north. The pack that I came in was the platinum pack. My mentor just simply told me, if you want to make the most amount of money for the least amount of work, this is what you want to get. Because what you're doing is you're creating, the right kind of mentality. Most people ask you, how'd you come in? And especially for me, opening up gyms in my lifetime, my first one back in 1987 cost me $500,000. This was $1,250, and I'm buying $1,200 worth of product. Excuse me, and I'm buying it at 30% below wholesale. So needless to say, it's the best value, and there's some other goodies that you get. You got some apps that they'll give you for the golden and platinum pack. You're also getting, event tickets. Just get with the person that invited you to this webinar tonight, and they can answer a lot more questions. I thought it was pertinent to cover price, because I had 3 questions that I wanted answered for me when I was looking at the business. How much does it cost to get started? What's the cost of doing business? And how do I get my money back? So the second question, the cost of doing business, and this is where my jaw literally hit the table. The cost of doing business is $200, and you can take that $200 and you can actually lower it down to $40 by getting 160 in customers. So think about this. If you own your own business, what if your balance sheet, what if your fixed costs, your operating costs were $40 a month, or the greatest it could be is $200 a month? Dr. Goodman, where would your practice be if it cost you $200 a month to operate your practice?
Boy, that would be a bargain, wouldn't it? I guess my overhead in my practice is probably $30,000 a month.
Yeah.
So $200 a month as my overhead makes a lot of sense. It's the cheapest thing that I could ever do in business.
Yeah, I looked at that and I said, give me 5 of them is what I said. Because my payroll for my wellness company was $50,000 a month. So you need to take a look at this industry, folks. I'm doing a lot of research on the industry. It's the second largest industry in the world. We're second to oil and gas. And because of what Dr. Goodman and myself are doing tonight, we are actually building our business through the advent of the internet. He is in his home in St. Simon's Island, Georgia. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida, and we're actually touching people in Germany, in the Netherlands, all over this country, and it doesn't cost us a penny. So think about that. So what the network marketing model is doing is removing the brick and mortar from the equation, removing the $30,000 a month to operate a business, and you can do it on your phone. And you have category creating products that nobody has. And in closing, this is what I saw. No competition, okay? So that's like Dr. Goodman's the only pediatric doctor in the world, right? I'm the only fitness trainer in the world. And on top of having no competition, ABC News comes knocking on Dr. Goodman's door and says, hey, doc, we've been hearing nothing but great things about your practice. We'd like to do a positive spin on it. You think that would help him get a few more children walking through his front door? You think it'd get me a few more clients walking through my front door? Folks, that's what we have. So it's incredible. So what Dr. Goodman and I have, literally the privilege of doing is educating people on the difference between direct antioxidants, like Dr. Goodman just educated us, one and done, versus antioxidant enzymes. And he mentioned this a couple of times, like glutathione, SOD, catalase, 1,000,000 to 1 per second. So let me just ask you this question. What team do you want to be on? Do you want to be on the one and done team? Or do you want to be on the 1 in 1,000,000 per second team? That's all we share. Good guys versus bad guys, one and done versus 1 in 1,000,000. So get with the person that invited you on this webinar. There are 8 different ways to get paid. And the most significant way is doing something one time and getting paid month after month after month. Instead of what we call linear income, if you went to work today and you worked 8 hours, you got paid for those 8 hours. And when you left, what happens to the meter? Stops, right? We get paid what's called leveraged income, meaning if you went to work tomorrow, your boss is going to have this look on their face and says, hey, Gabe, why are you here today? We're going to pay you today what you did yesterday. How fast would you walk out the door? I've been doing that for 8.5 years. And now my business is doing over $1 million a month in revenue. It's absolutely insane. And what really scares the living daylights out of me is no one knows what nutrigenomics is. No one knows what oxidative stress is. Dr. Goodman used this really cool term, biohacking the aging code. Nobody knows what that is. And we have the privilege of really pioneering this new paradigm and educating people that we love and care for. Now, the majority of the people that you love and care for will do exactly what Dr. Goodman did. Will take the product because they want to look better, feel better, and prevent anything from happening in the future. They're slowing down the rate of aging and the susceptibility to disease. But you also have some friends out there that are looking for a side hustle. Maybe that retirement is right around the corner and making them nervous right now because they're not where they need to be. Or maybe they're just sick and tired of being sick and tired of paying the minimum on their credit card every month. And they just want to eliminate debt. Or maybe you might have some people that want to buy that second home or want to buy a boat, but just never had the money to do that. So there's a million different ways to use that side hustle. So hopefully, you start to understand the significance on the opportunity side. Dr. Goodman, thank you so much for your brilliant ways of educating all of us on those core 4 products. And I want to thank you so much. I know you've had a long day today, and to be on this webinar tonight, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and I'm looking forward to spending some time with you and your team on Saturday. And basically what you're actually doing is launching your business in Brunswick. So I'm looking forward to see you Saturday.
Thank you, Gabe. It's a great privilege to be here and to talk to your audience today. And I just want to say one other thing. We all have a personal story, what brought us to this point, and our belief in the products. And I, too, have had great success with it. I didn't go into that tonight, but I got to say that the reason I got into it is because when we used it on our patients, I saw transformations in children, the very people I care about and want them to do well with. Kids that were not succeeding with the use of traditional medicine. And when I offered them Protandim, we saw life-changing changes that parents came back and said, "What the heck have you done to my child?" And at first I didn't even know what she was talking about. And then they realized how much better their child was, and they weren't taking a real medicine or true pharmaceutical. They were taking a nutraceutical, something that was organic, something that was natural, and at pennies versus what it would cost to take an actual medicine. That's what transformed me.
Well, I tell you what, that's an incredible story, because the majority of the doctors that I have on my weekly webinars, we're always talking about, someone that's a baby boomer or someone who's, older than a baby boomer. And it's so refreshing to hear your story on how you're helping those young children by taking this product. So thank you so much for everything that you do.
You're welcome. Thanks, Gabe.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for being on this webinar tonight. If it's your first time, I welcome you. Invite 3 to 5 of your friends to be on next Monday night at 9 p.m., same meeting ID number. Get with the person who invited you tonight. Get yourself a LifeVantage ID number from a customer standpoint, or if you want to jump into business, jump on in the business and jump on this incredible team. Everyone have a great night. Thank you so much for being on tonight. My name is Gabe Pearson. Good night, everyone.